The Tausug.
Tausug's language. A map of the Sulu archipelago showing the areas in which Tausug is the primary and secondary language spoken. The Tausug language is called Sinog with Bahasa to mean language. The Tausug language is related to Bicolano, Tagalog, and Visayan languages, being especially closely related to the Surigao language of the provinces Surigao del Norte, Surigao del Sur, and Agusan del Sur, and the Butuanon language of northeastern Mindanao, especially the root Tausug words without the influence of the Arabic language, sharing many common words. The Tausug, however, do not consider themselves as Visayan, using the term only to refer to Christian Visaya language speakers, given that the vast majority of Tausugs are Muslims in contrast to its very closely related Surigaonon brothers, which are predominantly Roman Catholics. Tausug is also related to the Waray-Waray language. Aside from Tagalog, which is spoken throughout the country, a number of Tausug can also speak Zamboangueño, Chavacano, especially those residing in Zamboanga City, and other Visayan languages, especially Cebuano language, because of the mass influx of Cebuano migrants to Mindanao.
So here are some examples of the Tausug language. In English, what is your name? In Tausug, hiziyo ingan mo. In English, how are you? In Tausug, mauno-uno na kaw. In English, I am fine too. In Tausug, marayaw da isam. In English, thank you. In Tausug, magsukol. In English, I am here at the house. In Tausug, yari ako habay. In English, fish. In Tausug, isda. In English, person. In Tausug, tao.
Few things do a better job of helping us understand a culture, and one of those is knowing the local food. Today, we sit at the table of the Tausug, an ethno-linguistic group native to southern Mindanao, specifically in the western region from the Sulu archipelago. We picked out 4 dishes from adolang or latal, a platter of various Tausug dishes served as communal feast during special occasions. The dishes reveal the bounty of the Southeast Asian landscape like coconut, lemongrass, and turmeric, and a penchant for fiery flavors. Let's have our first dish, which is tiyula itum. This special dish with a black soap seasoned and blackened with burnt coconut is a mainstay at weddings and all other celebrations. The most salient characteristic of tiyula itum is its color, a green tinted dark gray form, and burnt coconut that is added to create its distinct flavor. To make tiyula itum, cubes of beef are rubbed with a condiment called pamapa, a blend of burnt coconut paste and spices that may include pounded ginger and garlic. The beef is then braised with fried onion and garlic before turmeric, ginger, chopped galangal, and pounded bird's eye chalice or siling labuyo. Second, we have beef kolma. Because the Tausug communities are located along coastal areas, seafood is considered daily fare. The Sulu archipelago is a rich fishing ground, so seafood is plentiful and inexpensive. It's also the reason why many dishes for special occasions feature meats like beef and chicken. And beef kolma is as special as it gets. The rich stew is flavored with coconut milk, cinnamon, lemon juice, and lemongrass, and spiced with curry powder, red pepper, and paprika. Dollops of peanut butter are added for a creamy, nutty taste. It's one of the dishes that shows the kinship the Osogs have with the rest of the region and the ethnic roots they share. Third, we have chicken pianggang. It's not a party unless there's chicken pianggang, a dish that's also blackened with the same burnt coconut paste used to flavor tiola itum. The meaning of pianggang is a description of how it's made, grilled after marinating. Coconut milk is then added for a creamier finish. The chicken, marinated in a mix of onion, garlic, salt, lemongrass, and the special black paste, is a literal labor of love. Served as a main entry for the Tausug traditional wedding dulang, it's cooked especially for the bride and groom. And lastly, we have piasak. Piasak holds the same stature in Tausug cuisine as foie gras does in the French culinary tradition. But instead of goose liver, this delicacy uses beef liver as its main ingredient, sliced into bite-sized cubes because the Tausug believe digestion begins in the mouth. The liver is fried in a pan and flavored with pounded ginger, garlic, turmeric, black pepper, lemongrass, and burnt coconut, which the Tausug believe has anti-carcinogenic properties. Coconut milk is then poured into the mix and the dish is left to cook until the liquid is completely absorbed by the liver cube.
The Tausug's culture. First, the Tausugs still practice age-old marriage customs. Marriage were arranged by the parents so that the young couple would be married even if they didn't have much opportunity to get acquainted. A dowry is go to the bride's family by the groom's family. This dowry may be in the form of crops, work animals, land, money, or pieces of jewelry. The pangalay, a traditional Tausug wedding dance and popularly known as the fingernail dance, is one of the most well-known dances, accompanied by a kalintang ensemble. This dance is distinctive because dancers use metal or golden nail extenders or jangay, which make the fingers stiff and set them apart from the thumbs. The pangalay imitates the mythical Sarimanok bird, a reincarnation of a goddess who loved a mortal man. After the dance, she removes her nails and drops them to the ground, hoping that a man will gather them and will claim her for his bride. A Tausug marriage is usually arranged by parents, with the exception of the children of brothers. First and second cousins are favored spouses. Marriageable women are kept in relative seclusion to protect their value to their family. The next is certain burial customs are observed among these people. For example, when someone in the family dies, religious officials are called upon to perform the rituals. The dead man's body is washed to prepare it for the ceremony. The sacred text of the Quran is read over the body. It is believed that the chants from the Quran will lighten the dead man's spirit from its physical pain. The reading of the Quran is continued, this time over the grave, for several days. Tausug means treacherous waters. They are given this name because their land floats atop the treacherous waters. The next is the Tausug baptisan. The child clad in best garment is brought to the group of imams standing in circle. A few strands of hair are dipped in a container of the water of the buton. The child's mouth is smeared with sugar. Candle is lit at the beginning of the rite and is then blown off after. Aside from Allah or Tuhan, the Tausug are also concerned with spirits inhabit nature, especially rock and trees, and who are believed to be the cause of human suffering. The Satan or the evil spirits believe in the four composites of the human soul: the transcendental soul, the life soul associated with the blood, the breath or life essence, and the spirit soul who travels during dreams and who causes the shadow. The next culture, the mangugubat or courier who have direct access to the spirit world, traditional medical specialists who obtain their powers through dreams or by the instruction of older couriers, heal mainly by herbal remedies and prayers. Next, the Tausug celebrate the Lami-Lamihan Festival of Lamitan in Basilan to celebrate of the rich culture of the Yakan tribe and is a way to promote cultural harmony among the people from the Yakan, Tausug, Muslim and Christian communities in the area. Music for religious activities such as the Lugho performed by the Tausugs during Ramadan. It is meant to be a time of spiritual discipline, of deep contemplation of one's relationship with God, extra prayer, increased charity and generosity, and intense study of the Quran.
The next culture is praying. Tausug pray 5 times a day. Remember that the Prophet Muhammad was perfect, and that's how Tausugs should be, and to remember who created them.
Tausug's values. One characteristic of the Tausug is preservation of the family reputation and will never commit an act of cowardice that will blemish on the family's name. You can never expect a Tausug to run from a good fight. They believe that running away is shameful, especially when other members of the family are involved. Next, loyalty is an important trait among the Tausugs. They practice the ritual of blood compact to signify the depth of their loyalty to one another. They are fierce and dangerous, but the moment one befriends one of them, the bond will be enduring. The Tausug regards themselves superior to other Philippine Muslims and still live a combative way of life. Running away from a fight is considered shameful. One old Tausug proverb says, "Hanggang may buhay, may pag-asa," meaning never admit defeat as long as you live.
Tausug people are known for being brave, show or tell you what they feel. They are humble and respectful, usually silent type of people, willing to risk their life. They have one word and not fond of crowded places. Some negative behaviors of Tausug. First, impatient. Next, some Tausugs do not like to do household chores. Next, some Tausugs are envious people. Next, some Tausugs don't like to be intimidated. And lastly, the Tausug regards themselves superior to other Philippine Muslims and still live combative way of life.
While music is an extremely important part of everyday life in Holo, there is no overall word for music as such. The subclassifications of forms and genres are more important to the Tausug than the overall concept. To make music is to engage in a particular genre or tradition and will be identified as such. To play the violin or magbiola, or to sing in the logo tradition or magloga, and so forth. Tausug vocal music is characterized by a distinct divisions into 2 different styles with varying along a number of constructing dimensions. The Sayel or Lugo tradition is characterized by high vocal tension, use of the chest voice, and a tendency toward pronounced melisma or covering voice. In contrast to the opposing tradition, it is characteristically non-percussive in stress and feeling. The Second tradition is a style of singing associated with the gabang. There is a more percussive stress in the singing, reflecting the instrumental accompaniment. A sampler of the Tausug folk songs includes Magbangka-bangka, Magbanog-banog, and Suwaku. Baliling is one of the most famous Filipino folk song, which is Sama de Laot, an or Tausug in origin that has been passed through generations. The composer or the writer of the song was not credited and was unknown. Various musical instruments played solo or as an ensemble provide the Tausug with music. Most notable is the Kolintangan ensemble consisting of two gandang or drums, a tulangan or large gong, a duwahan or set of two paired gongs, and the Kolintangan, which is a graduated series of 8 to 11 small gongs. Tausug visual arts are represented by carvings, metalworks, woodworks, tapestry and embroidery, mat making and basketry, textile and fashion, pottery, and other minor arts. In general, Tausug visual arts follow the Islamic prohibition of representing human or animal forms. Consequently, Mindanao and Sulu have developed kukil or abstract motifs which are carved, printed, or painted into various media. These motifs are suggested of leaves, vines, flowers, fruits, and various geometric shapes. Tausug carving is best exemplified by the sonduk or grave marker. Although not as stylized as those of the Samal, the Tausug sonduk are wood or stone carvings of geometric or floral forms. Tausug mananasal or blacksmiths produce bolo, kalis, and barong or bladed weapons. Fishing implements are also made, such as the sangkil, which is a single-pointed spear, and the sapang, which is a three-pronged spear. Embroidery, another Tausug visual art form, is used to ornament tablecloth, pillow cases, bedspreads, and the habot-yahian or embroidered tube. Tausug literature includes poetry and prose, and narrative and non-narrative forms. The content of these forms belongs to either of two traditions: folk, which is more closely related with indigenous culture, or Islamic, which is based on the Quran and the Hadith, sayings, and Sunnah traditions and practices of the Prophet Muhammad. Folk narrative poetry includes tigom-tigom or tukod-tukod, which is the riddles, masaalaa, proverbs, daman, or poetic dialogue or advice, pituwa or maxims, malikata or word inversions, pilik or love spells, and tarasol or poems. The most common folktales among the Tausug are those revolving around the lives of the people sultan. A tale about one sultan, for example, has many variants or versions in different parts of the province of Sulu. One version found in the municipality of Indanan is entitled Manok Manok Bulawan. Other versions of this folktale are entitled Agda and Dato Dakula. Other municipalities have likewise produced new versions.
The religion of Tausug. The Tausug are part of the wider political identity of Muslims of Mindanao, Sulu, and Palawan. Most of the Tausugs have converted into the religion of Islam, whose members are now more known as the Moro group, or who constitute the third largest ethnic group of Mindanao, Sulu, and Palawan. The Bangsamoro or Moro people are the native Muslim inhabitants of the Philippines. They are the descendants of the early Malay, Arab, and Indian migrants into the Philippine archipelago from as early as the 14th century. The Moro fought for religious rather than political reasons because, knowing Muslims, they are monotheistic and worship one all-knowing God who in Arabic is known as Allah. Followers of Islam aim to live a life of complete submission to Allah. They believe that nothing can happen without Allah's permission, but humans have free will. They also believe that God is the creator of all things and that God is all powerful and all knowing. God has no offspring, no race, no gender, no body, and is unaffected by the characteristics of human life.
Let's proceed to the clothing of the Tausug tribe. Since the Tausug are an ethnic group which is seafaring in nature, they are exposed to silk and some designs similar to Chinese malongs of an unusual curvilinear tradition, while the rest can be seen from Arabic design, and this is due to the great influence of Islam in this place. As much as we love the art, Tausug clothing is remarkably beautiful as well. The native attire of a Tausug is consist of baju lapi and kupot for boys, while the top for girls are batawi and sablay for formal occasions, and sambre and supa-supa for daily use. By the way, the pants for the girls are called sawal, which however has a different design that would fit the top. The baju lapi is a tight blouse with long sleeves and ornamented with gold, silver, or bronze buttons. It is a collarless short tailored jacket similar to the batawi. The sleeves of the baju lapi are either long or three-fourths with slits at the wrist. The baju lapi is likewise ornamented with tambuku on the breast, shoulders, and cuff. Tausug men wear the sawal kupot or sawal kantiyo and match with the baju lapi. The legs of the sawal kupot are skin tight down to the ankles and have 2.5 cm slits on each side, which are also decorated with buttons. Another clothing for the men Tausug is a kambot or the kandet. It is a hand-woven or embroidered sash tied around the waist, serves to keep the sawal kupot in place. Next is a pishabit. It is a headgear worn by Tausug men and it's either tied around the head or left to hang on the shoulder. Another is the biyatawi, a dress of the Tausug women. It is a tight long-sleeve blouse made of plain material like silk and satin with hundreds of buttons made from bronze, and it is ornamented with tambuku on the breast, shoulders, and cuffs. It is usually made of shimmering cloth and embroidered with glittering sequins and paired with lost trousers of same material and color. Tausug men, on the other hand, has expensive handkerchief in their shoulder as decoration. In tradition times, they only use sawal and lapi, but now they use maong pants. Women who use batawi are referred to as the most beautiful among the women present. Women use this on occasion like wedding. Maid of honors usually use this. Another clothing for women is sablay. It is a loose garment. The sleeves are long. The cloth used is different from that of batawi. Batawi clothes are usually plain colored while sablay use designed cloth. At present, the Hindi sari cloth is used to sew the sablay. Sablay is also paired with sawal and malong. A headdress is also worn to complete the set. The malong is a primary accessory to this attire. In fact, it is where the name sablay was inspired. The term sablay in Tausug is a verb that means to hang loosely. So the malong is hung loosely to call it sablay. Sablay are mostly worn by modern Tausugs as an attire to weddings and other functions. The attire is supposedly to have a lot of colors in it. Gold jewelry is also to be worn as accessories to the said attire. Next is the sambra. It has short sleeves. The cloth used is quite simpler compared to that of the batawi and sablay. Usually, elderly Tausug women wear this in their daily lives.
The pair of sambra is a pajama. Another is the sopa supa. It is a combined design of a pukul tandu and sambra. The cloth can be silk or cotton depending on the appropriateness as to which occasion it shall be worn. For the elderly women in which they wear it every day, the cloth that they use is the same tier one. Next is the patajung. It is an all-purpose skirt worn by both men and women. Now, let's talk about the celebrations of the Tausug. Major events in the religious calendar include fasting during Ramadan, Hari Raya Puasa, a day of feasting immediately following Ramadan, Hari Raya Haji, the fest of the sacrifice on the 10th day of the month of July. Panulak Bala is the day of ritual bathing on the last Wednesday of Sapao. Mulid Nabi, the birthday of the Prophet of the Hari Raya Puasa marks the end of the fasting month of Ramadan and the start of a new month on the Islamic calendar Shawwal. Hari Raya Puasa is a celebration of victory in completing the fast and the overcoming of personal struggles during the Ramadan, as well as a time of forgiveness and strengthening of bonds amongst family members and relatives. Hari Raya Haji is celebrated to mark the Muslim pilgrimage and is a day when Muslims usually perform the annual Korban ritual. Hari Raya Haji commemorates the willingness of the Islamic prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son Ismail in act of obedience to God. The Korban is one of the main rituals and involves the sacrificial slaughtering of livestock such as cows, sheep, or goats. The sacrifice ritual is done quickly. The jugular vein of the animal's throat is slit quickly to ensure the quickest death possible. Then, the meat is cleaned and distributed to the community, the poor, and the needy. Muslims usually congregate to perform Hari Raya Haji prayers in the morning at the mosque and then visit close family members just like they do during Hari Raya Puasa. Next is the Panulak Bala. This is the festival which falls on the last Wednesday of the month of Sapao and during which all Muslims from all walks of life go to the beach and take a bath to rid themselves of various.
Maulid or Eid Milad an-Nabi is observed on the 12th day of the month of Rabi al-Awwal, the third month of the Islamic lunar calendar. Muslims around the world believe that the day holds a special significance in their calendar. Muslims celebrate the occasion by wearing new clothes, offering prayers, and exchanging gifts.
To actually experience the Philippine culture like Tausug, we can visit the places here in the Philippines, primarily in the Sulu archipelago, southwest of the island of Mindanao, mainly in the Hulu Island cluster. Because Tausug, or people of the current, or Tau means people and Sug means sea current, are the numerically dominant group in the Sulu archipelago of the southern Philippines. Hulu Island is strategically located near the heart of the archipelago, constitutes the cultural and political center of Tausug society. The major concentrations of Tausug are also present on Pata Island, Tapul Island, Logos Island, and Siasi Islands, on the northeastern coast of Basilan, and in the Mindanao provinces of Zamboanga del Sur and Cotabato. In Sulu, the Tausug typically occupy the larger high islands suitable for intensive agriculture, leaving the low coralline islands to the more maritime Samar. The Tausug are a culturally unified group and regional differentiation is minimal. On Hulu Island, coastal dwelling Tausug refer to themselves as Tau Higad, or Higad means sea coast, and to inland dwellers as Tau Gemba, or Gemba means hinterland, whereas both groups refer to Tausug living on islands other than Hulu as Tau Pu, or Pu means island.
Swan, Jory D, Tabaranza, Mika, Tubia, Jaren M, Tumorless, Queenie M or C,